Hey, so we left off right at this comparative anatomy section, and we're going to look at the different structures within the bodies that we can compare. So, for an example, we were looking at cats, like house cats versus tigers, and how they're similar. They're cats, but their structures have some key differences. Homologous structures are structures that show a common evolutionary origin but have different functions. So, in this example, we're going to compare a horse and a bird. Horses use legs for movement, birds use wings to fly. Despite the different functions, the internal structure of the limbs is similar in these organisms. The similarity in the arrangements of bones indicates a common ancestry. Analogous structures are structures that are similar in their function but differ in their anatomy. And the comparison here is the wings of a bird and a bee. The function of wings in both organisms is flight, but the internal structures of wings vary. Birds are vertebrates and they have an endoskeleton, while bees are insects and are invertebrates. Because the internal structure of their wings is different, we know the bird and the bee did not inherit wing structure from a common ancestor. So, homologous means different functions, but they show a common origin. Analogous means their functions are similar, but their anatomy is different. In some cases, structures can be both homologous and analogous, depending on the aspect you are evaluating. Birds and bats use their wings to fly. However, the wing structures differ from each other. The similar function with different anatomy indicates the wings are analogous structures. Because the anatomy of the wings is different, the wings evolved from different ancestors. However, the forelimbs, which are called the front limbs, show similarities in bone structure and arrangement. All vertebrates share this arrangement, including humans. The reason is that all vertebrates inherited these limbs from a common ancestor. So the actual bone structure of the forelimbs is an example of homologous structures. Comparative anatomy helps to establish evolutionary links. Consider the phylogenetic chart that explains the evolution of forelimbs. Evidence suggests that forelimbs evolved long ago. Therefore, the arrangement of bones between bats, birds, and other vertebrates is similar. However, the evolution of bats and birds is along separate lineages. Their forelimbs evolved as wings separately, leading to distinctly different paths of wing evolution. In fact, bats are more closely related to mice than they are to birds. And you can see that here. So they evolved to create similar structures, but they did it through different ancestors. Now, there are other types of structures called vestigial structures. These are body parts that were functional in an ancestral organism at some point in time, but those structures no longer serve the same function in the modern evolved organism. So, take, for example, a whale. They are vertebrates. In vertebrates with limbs, the pelvis attaches the leg bone to the rest of the skeleton. However, modern whales do not have legs. The pelvis is non functional or vestigial. Vestigial means it doesn't work anymore. So, the presence of this vestigial pelvis suggests that whales descended from organisms that had legs, but those legs were lost during evolution. Similarly, snakes have tiny pelvis bones that suggest that they evolved from limbed organisms as well. So isn't that so strange? Like, look at the rest of their body, and then you just have this detached pelvic bone. All right, so the image here shows a modern ostrich next to a dinosaur. Dinosaurs were reptiles. What conclusions can you draw about their evolutionary relationship? Explain your response. Now, they do look strikingly similar. The modern day ostrich and this dinosaur have the same basic shape. Reptiles and ostriches are both vertebrates, so they both have endoskeletons. Based on their shape, it appears they have similar skeletal structures. Therefore, modern birds and extinct dinosaurs share an evolutionary ancestor. However, the bird developed feathers and wings over time. These features must have evolved from a different ancestor. So the ostrich has ancestors that the dinosaur does not have, which makes sense. Developmental and molecular biology. If you observe a chicken, a fish, or a pig, they are very different in their shape and structure. However, the embryos of these organisms look strikingly similar. Many organisms look similar in the embryo stage, but they look very different as adults. This similarity in their embryological structure suggests an evolutionary link between the organisms. So look at us. Here's a fish, reptile, bird, human. So, for example, insects are invertebrates. Most insects go through some kind of metamorphosis in their development, suggesting that they share a common evolutionary ancestor. The ways in which an organism grows and develops provides evidence about its evolution. Next, we'll watch a video about how developmental biology contributes to evolution. And I'll leave off right here, and I'll show this video next time. Bye-bye.